So it's my pleasure to introduce Lori. She's a fourth-term state rep in the 8th Essex District. She's a mom of 2 girls, one of whom I got to meet earlier today. And she cites her concern about the impact of toxic emissions from the plant in Salem as the reason that she got involved in this to begin with. She's widely recognized for her energy and environmental advocacy work, most notably her work to clean the coal ash from the drinking water for residents in Salem, Beverly, and parts of Wenham. She's also known as an advocate for child well-being, most notably for her work drafting and then championing the landmark Massachusetts anti-bullying law. I'm really, really pleased to welcome you up here. Big hand.
Well, good morning, everyone. I can't tell you how inspirational it is to look out and see so many grassroots engaged individuals in one room at the same time. You are my grassroots dream. Mothers, fathers, grandparents, and children. That's all of us, right? In one way or another. It's so great to see you all here today. In those roles, as we try to get a hold of those roles, we are able to draw upon a well of passion that is capable of changing the world. The people who allow us, who help us to get a hold of that passion and put us all together in one room, it's the work of angels. And those angels are sometimes otherwise known as organizers. And my hat is off to all of you organizers for the great work that you've done today. I have been a mother out front, so to speak, for about 17 years. It all started for me when I'm going to take you all back about 17 years, to a hot summer day. I figure we could all use a little escape from winter. A hot summer day on the 3rd day of a heat wave. And my 2 little girls at the time were 2 years old and 5 years old, and they were running around on the back deck of our house. And my husband and I were putting together lunches and towels, and we were gonna go cool off at the pool. So we were ready to go. We called the girls in. They came running in, not a care in the world, singing an adorable song from Sesame Street. And they were running around the kitchen table, running just all over the kitchen, ready to go visit Grandma. Well, we were all ready to go, and I looked down at the floor, and the white tiles of my kitchen floor had something I had never seen before. They had little tiny black footprints in an array around the kitchen table. And my first reaction as a mom, as a very busy mom, I'm a CPA, I had my own accounting practice, my husband was very busy in his business as well. My first reaction was, oh shoot, I just cleaned the kitchen floor. What a pain, I gotta go clean it again. But then when I went to go wipe off those footprints, they were greasy and they smeared. And I thought, what's on the kids' feet? So my husband Bruce said, honey, come outside, take a look at this. Our back deck was covered with this layer of soot. And I thought, So, long story short, I asked my dad later on, who had been born and raised in Salem, what do you think this is? What's all over my deck? And he said, well, I wonder if it's the coal plant. And I said, what coal plant? And he said, that coal plant. This huge coal plant was on my horizon for the entirety of my life, and I never noticed it. It was there hidden in plain sight. It just was part of my horizon. So that Monday, I called up the power plant and I said, got this problem. Could it be from you guys? And they said, well, we don't know. We'll send somebody over. So it took a few weeks. They sent over an insurance adjuster who went around and took samples of what was on the deck and sent it off to a lab. It took about a month after that, and already it was autumn and cooler. Went out to my mailbox one day. My kids were just playing there on the grass, and I got my mail, and in it was a letter from the insurance adjuster saying, we're not sure if it's from us, but it's possible. Of course, there were no lab results in this letter, but they let me know that as part of their good neighbor policy, they were going to power wash my deck for me. And not only that, but before they agreed to do this, I would have to sign off on liability, that I wouldn't sue them for anything in the past, anything currently, or anything in the future. I stood there holding that letter at the mailbox, and I looked down at my little girls, and I said, girls, you know what? They missed my point. This really wasn't about my lawn furniture. It wasn't about my deck. This is about what they were tracking into the house, what was on their feet. And really now, who was going to power wash our lungs? So that moment was a bit of an epiphany for me, and it set me off on a path I never could have anticipated. I ended up with actually, there's one person in this room, I don't know where she ended up, who was part of the original HealthLink group, Gail McCormick from Arlington. There she is, Gail. A very active group of citizens got very concerned about this coal-burning power plant in our midst, injected ourselves into the scientific realm, injected ourselves into the political realm, and worked very hard on the state level to establish very tough state regulations. We were the first state in the country to regulate CO2 as a pollutant. And And I will say that 17 years ago, when you started talking about global warming, there was nobody called it climate change then, you could very easily and quickly get laughed out of a room. So just so you know, we've come a long way in that regard. Unfortunately, so has climate change. So we are getting into what Al Gore calls a period of consequences, unfortunately. But just to give you an idea on the other side of the grassroots fight, this May, the Salem power plant, currently burning coal, is shutting down, May 1st. Yay. What many of you have probably heard is I have a few issues with what the plan is to put on that property, and we can discuss that further if you want. I also want to share with you another incredible grassroots effort that took place related to the Salem power plant. I'm not going to go through the whole story. It's a great story, but we came to discover that there was 4 to 6 feet of power plant waste, of coal waste, at the base of a drinking water supply for 80,000 people up on the North Shore. Through grassroots efforts like you are engaged in as you sit in this room, we were able to bring the original polluters, the original owners of the power plant, to the table, and they paid for the entire cleanup. It took 6 years and about $10 million to get that lake cleaned up. But that is a lake that once Queen Victoria used to insist on ice from Wenham Lake. The lake was once known for its purity, and then it just took a few decades for us to lay it to waste. So we are very proud that it's back in its original, as close to original state as when Queen Victoria used to insist on that ice. Both of these problems could not have been solved in the way that they were without the passionate involvement of people like you. Very quickly, soon after we started these organizations, headlines about this story referred to me as Mother Grizzly. And that was long before Sarah Palin adopted that name. So I've forgiven her for taking it, but I was known as Mother Grizzly and the East Coast Erin Brockovich. And you too can be that. And then just on a final note, I've been a veteran of the movement that some of you are just getting wind of, just becoming a part of. And let me tell you, I'm here with my daughter, Casey, who is 21 years old right now. I can tell you right now, you probably feel like you can't add another thing to your day. You may have little children. You may think, oh my gosh, I just don't have the time. My kids grew up with a regular stream of people they don't know in their living room on a weekly basis, coming together to try to solve some of the world's most vexing problems. I thought it was an inconvenience at first, but I came to appreciate it as the best gift I could give to my children. They both have grown up to be very thoughtful, very engaged. They speak their mind, they're very confident. Casey's studying marine biology right now. My younger daughter just got into University of Chicago, and she's going to be studying political science. Through this movement, I decided to throw my hat in the ring and get personally engaged in politics and ran for office 4 terms ago. So I guess, just keep at it. It has a positive impact on your families. There aren't enough role models out there for kids as well, and I can't thank you enough for stepping up, and I applaud all that you're doing and look forward to your partnership in the State House. There are many bills that I have filed that I suspect you all will be interested in. If I stood up here and started wonking about all of them, I think I would put you all to sleep, and I also want to get to the next speaker. So I encourage you to maybe find me on Facebook, find my website, and feel free to reach out to my office. My aide, Joe, is actually up in the balcony, so if you want to find him and get involved, we would appreciate your support in a lot of the efforts that we're stepping up to try to solve. This Wednesday, I just want to put in a plug, I have a bill that I've worked on for 5 years that deals with gas leaks in, thank you. And this issue, it's a huge public safety issue, it's a huge environmental issue because it's actually methane that's leaking from the pipes in our streets, and it's also an important issue for trees and many other topics. So this Wednesday it's going to come to the House floor. If anybody wants to come and watch from the gallery or watch on TV, just reach out to our office and we'll make sure that happens. So I thank you all for your attention. Keep up the good work. You give me such inspiration, and thanks again.